Here we are at the CNC router. We are going to start by securing our material to the table. There are a number of stops here. We want to put this corner right here where it's marked 0, 0, although we're going to use this as our 0, 0 starting point. We're going to use some wedges and some cams here to make sure that this is very secure, because there's going to be quite a bit of vibration, and we want to make sure that the material doesn't even move slightly, because then our tool paths will be in the wrong places. All right, now when I'm sure that this is very secure, I am going to zero the machine. With the Shop Saber controller program open on the computer, I am going to be able to control the router by using the arrow keys. So I'm going to drive it over here so that I can first take off the shroud here, the dust collector shroud. There's some magnets on it, so it just sticks to whatever metal you need it to. Let's take a look to make sure we have the right tool here. This is our 1/4-inch end mill that we're going to use to cut that profile. And we're going to start by making sure that the machine is using this point and this top surface as the 0 or the origin. So I am going to carefully drive it over to that point with the arrow keys, and then using the page up and page down to get it close without running into the material. So notice that I am just tapping that and it's moving very, very slowly. Now I'm going to have to get down here and look closely at it, and I have my hand on there too so I can kind of sense it. Notice that I'm just tapping the keys and I'm spinning it. I'm looking at the shadow down here. It's not touching quite yet. And I'm going to look at it from 2 different directions too, so I can make sure that it is lined up both in the horizontal and here in the vertical. All right. When I know that it is at that spot, I'm going to go down a little bit more. I can see that it's touching because I'm looking at the shadow there. I am going to go over to the software, and I am going to choose to 0 the X and the Y, that's the back and forth, and the Z, which is the up and down. Alright, so now you can see here my coordinates. The X is 0, the Y is 0, the Z is 0, and that means that the program is going to use that point as the starting point. Let's check out the program in Aspire and take a look and double check some of these settings. So, starting with the material job setup, our width is 13, our height's 18.5, our thickness is 0.65, our origin's in the center. It's offset down 2 1/4 inches because we did that diagonal on the larger rectangle and we're using that as our origin point. So that all looks good. I'm going to hit OK. Yours might be a little bit different size. Let's check the tool paths. There's 2 of them. The profile is what's going to cut around the outside of our pizza peel. Our cut depth is 0.6. It cuts almost all the way through. We're using a 1/4-inch end mill. The rest of this should look fine. We're going to hit calculate. We can get a preview from that. Notice it doesn't cut all the way through. We are going to finish it off using the Time Saver wide belt sander. Let's check our pocket tool path. That is going to cut a hole at the top that you can use to hang it, and notice that that cut depth is also 0.6, and that's a pocket tool path And you can see in the preview here, that is going to go around in a circle and cut that part out too. And I already have that previewed, so you can see that as well. All right, we're going to export both of these together. So I have put check marks in front of both of those. Let's close that and go to our Save Toolpath option. We're going to do visible toolpaths or selected toolpaths. We just want to make sure that both of these are selected. We're going to save that toolpath. We're going to give it a name. Put my initials on there. And now we're ready to go back to our shop saver and load that file. Pizza Peel JG, that's the one. All right, so now it's loaded. It hasn't started yet. I'm not going to hit start yet. I'm going to double check some things over on the router before I hit start. What am I going to double check? Well, I need to put the shroud, the dust shroud, back on. So I'm going to hit page up, bring the machine up, find where the magnets connected on. Might as well. I'm just going to drive this out of the way just to double check some things. That's my 0. My material is very secure. I'm going to move the keyboard out of the way. Now I'm going to hit the start button. And I'm going to watch it very closely. And if anything happens, I'm going to hit the escape key on this keyboard. All right, program is done. We are going to drive it out of the way and unsecure it. And you'll notice it is connected by a very thin layer of wood that we are going to remove using the time saver.